Well, here we are. It's a rainy afternoon, so we thought we would take an opportunity to talk about what it's been like living in the truck for the last 12 months.
We've gone from living in a really lovely home on a beautiful property with plenty of room around us, both inside and out, to living in a 6 metre
Box.
That's about it, yeah. I didn't know how we were going to go, and I know Heather didn't know how we would handle this, but it's been brilliant. It's been such an amazing experience because the truck itself is so comfortable. We haven't wanted it for anything really.
No.
It's been surprising to both of us as to how well everything has, I'll say, transitioned into van life.
And very homely and comfortable and luxurious on the same level too. And not much housework to do. It takes me 5 minutes, so that's a added bonus. And no lawns to mow.
No lawns to mow.
Yeah.
After mowing, what was it, 28 acres to no lawns? Yeah.
Garry has OCD. That's okay. So do I. We decided to call this video 12 months of living on the road in an expedition truck. Are we too old for this? And it was sort of sparked that conversation after a comment that we received from John. We always appreciate comments, and thank you very much, John, for sending through the comment. But he seemed to think that what were we doing is very dangerous, and because of our age, we shouldn't be doing it. And also because of Garry's inexperience, doesn't know what he's doing. This was all sparked off by the video, This Is Bad, Really Bad. I'll leave a link to that video in the description section of this video. Yes, but he did assure us and Garry that after a few more lessons, he'd probably be okay, but maybe we should have a smaller truck because this was very unstable. So just for the viewers, Garry, maybe you might like to elaborate on your past experience in this area.
I've had a number of different career paths. One of them has been mechanicking for race teams. I've had my own businesses as a diesel engineer, and I've been involved in trucks and earth moving since the sort of late 70s.
That was last
Last millennium. As a driver, I've driven all manner of things. Highway trucks, B-doubles, road trains.
Very big
in
road
the
trains.
mines.
Very big road
Some
trains.
of the road trains that we were driving in the mines, this is both intra-mine and inter-mine. They were just shy of 100 metres long. They were 5 trailers long with a tear weight empty of just shy of 200 tonne and a gross vehicle weight of around 540 tonne. So reasonably large trucks. I spent, I think, about 15 years as a heavy vehicle driver trainer, and once I finished with that, I worked for Queensland Transport as a driving examiner for both light and heavy vehicles. So I've been around trucks for a little while. Am I the best? Not by a long shot. I've worked with the best. Rod, Radar, Craig, these guys are legends, and I would like to think that I am close to their ability. These guys are legends. I'm not a legend. Legend my own lunchbox, but that's about it.
I think you're a legend, Garry. But anyway, that's another story for another day. So I just thought I thought that we would just clarify that, and we were never in any danger. I was the one who was overreacting because I was very new to this whole experience of what four-wheel driving in a truck is about. Because four-wheel driving in a normal 4x4 is one thing, but when you're elevated in a truck, as we were, that was just another level altogether. So, but I think Garry agrees with me that I have come a long way. And
enormous.
So
I've been throwing poor old Heather into the deep end and way out of her comfort zone ever since we met.
good character development.
And she's been, I'll say, just ever so good. Sure, she's had a few scary moments, and I can imagine almost anybody who isn't used to that having an oh shit moment.
3 times. Shit.
Coming down.
That's a great
hill.
video, that one. It really is.
I've had a few comments of how I should have done it. The beauty of hindsight is it is 2020. When you see, and unfortunately the cameras never ever get just how steep the terrain is. When you see the area where we were on this is bad, really bad type thing, and the truck is sliding down the hill, it was hard pressed just walking on the hill in spots, let alone bringing a 13-14 ton truck down there. The second it moves quicker than you can stop it, it's gone. So it looks like I'm really struggling, and in all honesty, I was struggling to stop it from getting away. But apart from that, we've had an absolute ball in this truck. It's big, it's heavy, to a degree it's cumbersome, but it's amazingly capable of doing well in excess of what I have been able to do. So from an experience point of view, I think the truck outmatches me. But my question is how old is too old to be adventurous?
Yes.
My next birthday I'll be 70. Heather's a couple of years behind me.
Quite a few, yes.
But I still ride an adventure bike. I am not afraid of giving something a go. I'm quite happy to push the limits. My young brother will contest to that when I'll throw out some sort of crazy idea, and how hard can it be? What can go wrong?
Famous last words. But we'd be very interested to know, when do you stop being adventurous and taking risks? But
How
they're
old is
calculated
too old?
risks, and
That's
we feel
right.
comfortable, and we're growing. Well, I am, and experiencing things that in my life I've never experienced before, and just getting out into open spaces, the people you meet on the road, just generous, real people. That's where the real people live. If you're looking for
100% genuine people, salt of the earth, not full of rubbish and garbage that you see on the internet and all the rest of it. There's no pretend people out there in the bush. These are real people. And just being able to meet people like that.
And with every day, if we wake up and it's an adventure, because we never really know where we're going. So we have a vague idea. I know I'm always looking for the next bakery or the IGA, because that is one thing travelling on the road. You have to think about your food supply, water supply, and also power to make sure that the sun's shining and we're not using electrical
Mains power. We're pretty fortunate that we don't have to plan a lot. We plan from one meal to the next, and that generally covers where we will go as well.
Yes.
head out in the bush.
No, but
We'll have lunch first.
when we first set out in the truck, it was a bit like we were survivalists or something. I had so much food, tin food, in case, that I was forgetting that there were going to be IGAs along the way. So we are slowly making our way through all that food. But anyway, getting on to the next thing that we would like to speak about, the distance we've travelled, 28,759 kilometres in 12 months.
Well, less than 12 months, because we spent 3 months here at the farm. We're actually back at the farm now, preparing for the next onslaught. But
we're still living in the truck. So.
That's right, we're still living in the truck because we're still doing more renovations to the farmhouse. I forgot what I was going to say.
What would we change about the truck? Two batteries failed.
We've had approximately 9 months on the road of running around the countryside. 3 months here at the farm, and so 28, nearly 29,000 k's isn't a bad run in a vehicle like this. In that time, we've had 2 failed batteries, but that was due more to the time, because of the time that the truck left Germany and then the build was complete. That was a couple of years. The batteries were probably sitting there running flat and all the rest of it, so they had to be changed. They were changed through warranty and roadside assist.
Yeah, big shout out to roadside assist.
From MAN Roadside Assist.
Yes,
good on you guys.
Just amazing. They were following through, making sure that we were in a safe environment, because we called on them twice.
We blew an airline at the beginning of the Balfour track when we were on the Sandy Cape track down the west coast of Tassie. And it was...
that was a pretty isolated spot.
It was a very isolated spot. And when they ask you, what's the nearest intersection or the nearest suburb?
The nearest suburb was a funny one.
There wasn't a nearest suburb and there wasn't a nearest intersection. But they came out, and we were lucky enough that we found someone who actually lived in the area. That was unexpected. But they looked after us really well.
And
Thank you guys.
Gives you
that
a
was
peace
good.
of mind, especially
knowing that they will come to those lengths.
Yes, exactly.
To fix up basically a minor problem. I just didn't have one tool on board to try and get that airline back on. Otherwise, we'd have been right. What would we change about the truck? The truck itself? Very little. Very little. The truck itself is an extremely well-built, well-designed machine.
Capable.
It has a 6.8 litre turbo diesel producing around 290 horsepower, bucket loads of torque. It has switchable four-wheel drive, so it's constant two-wheel drive unless you switch it into four-wheel drive. It has high and low range with centre, front and rear diff locks. Surprisingly very good suspension travel, parabolic springs on the front, four airbags on the rear end, and we can raise and lower the back end, as we've done in one of the other videos there, where we were going through a crossing, and I was just worried about the back end dragging us through there and getting through the crossing and getting caught up. So I just paused momentarily, raised the back end and went through there, and nothing bottomed out. So it's very, very well thought out. We carry 600 litres of diesel, and on a highway cruise we'll do around 2,500 kilometres.
But Gary, we don't travel highways.
No, we stay off the highway.
Not very often.
We did it once. We had to come from Cairns back to here. It was about 1,900 kilometres, and we easily did that there on the fuel we had, with plenty left over. Down in Tasmania was the first time where we've been doing a lot of short haul and a lot of four-wheel driving. both high and low range, up and down hills all over the place, and it still returned surprisingly good fuel economy. Now, before we left, I set the truck up with hydrogen on demand, and it didn't dawn on me at the time. I had nothing to be able to compare it with as to how it would go in those situations. So I can't give you an accurate response to just how well it performed. I did see a couple of spots there where it was making a difference, albeit small. It did make a difference to the fuel consumption. A couple of times there I had some problems with the electronics in it, and until I was able to sort that out, we were driving for I think about 4 or 5 days with it switched off. Then when I turned it back on, I won't say immediately, but very close after I switched it on, I started to notice a small difference in the fuel consumption.
But I think also the unit itself is not large enough
it's
make
too
a
small
really
for
difference.
this size vehicle, this size engine, and under load when we're climbing up and down some of these hills. So I will revisit that at a later date. In the meantime, I will use it in one of our other vehicles. But as far as fuel economy is concerned, I think we ended up with the worst average of 3.54, I think it was, or 3.53 litres per 100, and that wasn't too bad considering the terrain. It was as steep as in some spots, and if we weren't in very, very steep country, we were in rocky, gnarly country, as well as soft, deep sand. So I'm not complaining about that.
Now, what would we change about? I saw the house part of the truck referred to the other day as a habitat box, and I quite like that. So I'm going to refer to it as the habitat box. That sounds good, doesn't it? Habitat box.
Very technical.
Very technical. Well, let me tell you, my biggest mistake was, like always, I never read instructions. So I really should have read the instructions on the Miele washing machine and the Miele oven before going ahead and trying to do things. So we did have a few little issues, like a bit of water on the floor at least 3 times before I sat down and read the instructions. But anyway, I got there in the end. And also the cargo locks on the cupboards. Just make sure you press them really hard, because some of the terrain that we were going over was quite wild, and I think a couple of times, sorry about that, Garry, a couple of times I don't think I quite pressed them hard enough, and I think it has been at least 4 occasions. Three occasions. Okay, well, thank you, very generous. 3 occasions where we've pulled up, let's have some lunch, open the door, and we've slowly been whittling away our crockery set, because now all we're down to is 2 dinner plates, 3 dinner plates, 2 breakfast bowls, and we lost a couple of cups along the way. So that's something that we probably should be aware of, any people who are interested in buying any sort of vehicle like this. And also the other thing is the garbage bin's fantastic, kitchen tidies, but it would be good if they were just a little bit bigger, because just 2 days use and you've got a full bin, and then you've got to find a garbage bin somewhere, or else wrap it up and leave it until you do find one. And the other thing was this table here. Don't know whether you can see it, but the table is static.
Fixed.
It's fixed. It would be nice, and I know that we can get some sort of
a slide
attachment,
so
we can actually push it out of the way, because it's just fixed in this one. I'd like to be able to push it back there, but gee, that's nothing really, is it? That's
a minor.
Just pointing out, because people did say, would we change anything? And also over on the sink, it just cuts off very sharply maybe we can turn around, just have a look at that, do a video of it. I don't know whether you can see that, but the sink edge there. So the sink, if we could have, I have seen them on other trucks, lift up shelf, so you've just got that extra area to put dirty dishes on as you watch
Just a
them,
small
just
bench
going from
extension.
right to left, you know, into the sink and then onto the draining board. But minor, very, very minor, but just thought for the sake of it, just to point those little things out. But I think overall now, just getting onto a personal level, and what the life a truck or a vehicle like this can offer you. It's getting out, having that adventure in luxury, in comfort, knowing that you can pull up. We've done this a few times. We've seen caravans off in the distances. We've sort of pulled up. We've just climbed out of the cab, come into the habitat box, and next thing we're having happy hour, wine, cheese, and everyone's
there's
still
no
out there
time.
half an hour, 45 minutes later. You
There's
look
no
over.
time wasted in setting up.
No.
Just park it. I usually try and level it, and again I can use the airbags in the back of the truck there to raise or lower the back end to level it. And if you've found a relatively level spot from side to side, it's just a case of just check the airbags on the back to make sure the house is level.
Yeah, so it's quite easy. Well, it is. There's nothing to it. You just get out and come back into the living area. But as I was saying, caravans 45 minutes later are still mucking around, putting up annexes, doing whatever. So that's really good. But just getting out into nature and being totally isolated, and having that experience of hearing the birds, the insects, the wind in the trees. We pulled up in one place in Tasmania just by this body of water and opened the door, and there's a seal on its back frolicking around. It's just it's liberating not to have the constraints or the expectations of other people or of yourself to think, well, I've got to get up and and do something today, when all we have to do is get in the truck and just drive out and be surprised or overtaken by beautiful sunsets, beautiful sunrises. One of the great things that we did was to experience sunrise and sunset on Big Red on the beginning of the Simpson Desert.
That was just amazing. That was very, very special.
Yes.
Very special.
Very.
Well, one of the things that I like about the truck, as Heather just sort of alluded to, we can pull up where there's homes that have $1 million view, absolute pristine view. They're set back from, say, the beach or the river or wherever it may be, this beautiful scenery. We're able to pull up basically right beside the river, just a couple of feet away from the river, and then we have the $2 million view. Nobody's complained yet, much to my surprise, but it is so special and amazing being able to do that.
Well, that happened at Lake Pedder, Ted's beach. We just pulled up there and we were camped on the beach, just looking out Lake Pedder.
Camp on the water's edge.
Camps on the water's edge. Just you have to pinch yourself, because it's just, I put my swimming costume on, and much to Garry's. I tried to get him to come in.
5 degree water.
Yeah, so and went in and swam, and I think, here am I swimming in Lake Pedder. So it's all the opportunities that you get that you wouldn't have living at home and being distracted. That's what happens. And we found this now. I've found this, and I think Garry has to some extent, coming back to the farm just to do a few little things, slash a few paddocks. Good on you, Garry. Things like that. Suddenly you get back into that mode again, and got to go into town for this, go into town for that, and your world then has been restricted and comes back into you as things that you have to do. Like you have to
more important things, supposedly more important
yes,
things.
like, I have to go and do this, that, whatever. But the thing is, when you're on the road, you're not even thinking about that. You're just thinking about wake up in the morning, have
Yep.
your wheat bix, and just head off somewhere, or just stay where you are and just enjoy the surroundings. So
We have I'll say a general idea as to where we're going.
but not specific.
Coming into some dirt track, forest track, that idea can change in less than a heartbeat when we come head to head with a gate that some nice person has locked for no apparent reason, and then you've got to find your way around. That's always interesting. So you have to be very, very flexible, and be prepared to take the road less travelled.
I think it makes us very resourceful. I mean, Gary's a very resourceful person, and I feel 100% safe because he does take good care of me. But it's that resourcefulness, like, okay, we've got a problem now. How are we going to sort this out? Or we're running out of Scotch finger biscuits. And anyone who knows Gary, he needs to have his morning tea at 10 a.m.
I like my
Cup
Scotch
of
finger
tea,
biscuits in a
Scotch
cuppa.
finger biscuits. So, but just all jokes aside, it's knowing that at any minute something could go wrong, especially on some of these tracks that we've been on that are so remote. Nobody around. It's just us, and I do get a little bit nervous sometimes, but I'm working on that.
It's a case of having the confidence in your own ability.
Yeah. And as you age, as any older person will tell you, your confidence does diminish, and then your world closes in,
Shrinks very rapidly.
And I think by doing what we're doing, it's testing us all the time. It's making us think outside the square. Where will we go? Map planning, map reading, where are we? All those sorts of things, taking nothing for granted, and just also being grateful, so grateful for every day that we're together in this amazing vehicle, in this amazing country that we all call home. So thank you for all your support and those who are following. And we've noticed that the people who are watching aren't always subscribers. So if you feel inclined, we'd really appreciate if you would subscribe to the channel. And always remember to give us a big thumbs up. And as always, we do appreciate your comments, and we'll reply to them if they're nice ones.
We reply to all of them.
We do.
One of the differences is people, and I've read some of the comments, and look, most of them are absolutely fantastic, and very constructive. There's people out there that have got a lot of experience, but the difference between, say, your average Hilux or Land Cruiser compared to this, it's like chalk and cheese. Whatever you know about your Hilux and Land Cruiser in four-wheel driving, forget it. It doesn't apply to this. But I'm quite happy to learn. So if someone's got constructive criticism, I want to hear it. If they've got good ideas, I definitely want to hear it. But I think what we should say too is this coming year is going to be very full on. We have a number of exciting things coming. We find it exciting anyway. Stay tuned. We're going to be growing the arsenal.
Growing the arsenal. Yes, that's a good way of putting it. Yes. And also going beyond Australian shores. So we won't let you in on it just quite yet. But just keep watching, and
later on
lots of adventure
epic.
is coming your way and coming our way.
Oh yeah.
So
looking forward to it.
yes. So until next time, we'll see you on the next video, and thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Until then,
Cheers
cheers.
from Team T to us.
Say it again.
Cheers
1, 2, 3. Cheers from Team Detour.